All right, what's up, guys? If you clicked on the video, it's probably because you guys want to know a couple of things that I think are important to consider when coming to UCSB or just college in general. So a little bit about myself. I'm Matt. I'm a fourth year here at UCSB. Obviously, I said that. I'm a psych and brain sciences major, so I'll be graduating soon. And then these are three things that I think everyone should incorporate or at least take into account when coming to college. I could go more in depth on these topics if you guys want to know, but I'm gonna try and keep this real brief and short and like straight to the point. So without further ado, the first one's finances. Finances, and whether that's paying for college, but also your personal finances. Honestly, I think these are things that not a lot of people pay too much attention to. Like, it's talked about like, oh, you know, college is expensive, things like that. But I want to talk more so on your personal finances, like balancing your money and being responsible with your money. Obviously, when it comes to paying for college, there's things such as FAFSA, loans, scholarships, and then obviously working. Like, real quick with FAFSA, it's a federal application, free student aid, something like that. You want to apply for that your junior or your senior year of high school. Take advantage of it. Even if you don't think you'll qualify, it's better to try and apply. Maybe get something, because something is better than nothing. Like, obviously in college you will learn that the smallest amount of money helps and it goes a long way. Now the next thing real quick would be loans. There's two types. I'm sure there's more types. You know, you could go through the bank for them, or you could go through the school for them as well. If you're gonna go get some from school, there's two that that you're gonna look into. They're gonna be the subsidized and the unsubsidized. Now, if you've been doing your research, you probably know this, but the subsidized ones are the ones where the government is gonna pay you the interest for your duration of your college career. They'll pay up to 6 to 9 months after you graduate, and then it's up to you to pay the rest and go from there. With the unsubsidized, they're not paying off your interest. So if you can imagine, try and max out your subsidized loans before you reach for those unsubsidized loans. But try and avoid those at all costs. But I'm not gonna lie, we've all taken them out. I've taken some out, and a couple of my friends have taken them out. So if you have to, there's nothing wrong with it. The next thing would be scholarships. So real quick, I don't think a lot of people take advantage of them. They could be small amounts of money, but if you think about it, if you could get $10, $100 scholarships, that's a rack. So now you can buy yourself a new pair of Jordans, or you could go to Blaze or Chipotle, right? It's literally free money out there. Just apply for it. I'm pretty sure it can go without saying. You guys know what scholarships are. All right, so the next thing would be working, right? So your employment. Now, whether you're gonna work on campus or off campus is completely up to you. Personally, I've done them both, and I would recommend working on campus because the hours are a lot more convenient. So as an example, I worked at the rec center throughout my entire time here in college. And at some point, our shifts were 2 to 3 hours. So you could honestly go to class, go to work for 2 hours, and then go home, and then you had the rest of the day to do your thing. Now, some people would kind of fit in the hours between classes, so they would do class, work, class, things like that. Now, you could do that, or you could stack continuous shifts up, so then you work 7 hours straight if that's something you're into. Another thing is you're working with people that are your age, so you guys can, it's a lot easier to relate to people. You know, you guys are gonna all go to UCSB, so you guys can talk about different majors or organizations. The thing with working off campus, I've done it. I have no shade towards it. Those are fun as well. But the only downside for those are the hours, honestly. And if you don't have another form of transportation, like if you don't have a car, it may be a little difficult. It's totally doable though. I worked at a restaurant downtown, and sometimes I'll take the bus, sometimes I'll take the car. So it's completely up to you. Another thing with the finances, something that I don't think a lot of people take into account is, so your personal finances, right? Open up a credit card now that you're in college. You might be too young to open it when you first get here. Have a parent co-sign, and then as soon as you start building your credit, you can kind of get them off of it. So then it's just your name on the account. But I would suggest getting a credit card. Obviously, be responsible with it. Start building your credit young. So then by the time you graduate, you have a pretty decent credit score. So if you're gonna go buy a new car, they kind of have something to look at. The other thing I would suggest is opening up a savings account. If you can get at least 10% of every check, just start putting it in a savings account. It doesn't hurt. 10% isn't going to sound like a lot. If you make a $400 check and you put 10, you're only going to put $40 in your savings account. But over time, that's going to start building up, and now you have money for emergency situations, or if you're trying to plan for a bigger financial purchase, such as a car. Another thing to take into account with the whole savings account would be, in my opinion, keeping a 6-month emergency fund in there. Some people say 3 months, some people say 6 months. I'm kind of like a worst case scenario dude, so I play a little more conservative with my money. So what I mean by that is I have 6 months of mandatory expenses saved up in a savings account. So if you lost your job for whatever reason, a good example would be actually right now with the whole COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs. Some people couldn't get paid anymore. So if you had that emergency fund, you now have 6 months of buffer to keep living until you can find a new employer. And then you can also use it to pay for your other expenses. So like if your phone breaks, your car breaks, or something unexpected happens, you have money there to pay for these things, so you don't always need to rely on your credit card if you can't afford it, or if you don't even have the money in your checkings account. That's something real quick. I kind of went over it really fast and not too much in detail, but if you guys want to know more specifics about like numbers and different financial decisions and responsibilities, things like that, if you guys have any other questions regarding the whole finances thing, feel free to leave them in the comment box. I kind of went through it real quick. I'm just trying to keep the video short and simple. But anyways, moving on, the next thing would be your adaptability. So how well can you adapt to the situation? High school is nothing like college. Anyone will confess to that. Now what I mean is, high school, you're in classrooms of 30, you just go home. High school is pretty easy, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if you're taking AP classes, that's another thing. But when I look back in retrospect, I don't think AP classes were really like my college classes. When I'm talking about adaptability, I'm talking about dealing with the situation. You're in a new environment. You might move out of home. You might not be living with your parents anymore. Now you have to balance work, school, extracurriculars. Now time management's gonna come into play, how well you can manage your time. Can you stay organized? Can you maintain your stress low? Can you cook for yourself? These are all things that you need to take into account when coming to college. Adaptability, it's not something you're born with. It's just something you're gonna pick up on over time throughout your college career. But just honestly, the quick and simple way I could put it is just learning to overcome any situation, right? Whatever college throws at you, exams, just adapt to it. All right, like find a strategy that works for you so that you can study for these exams, or that you can do your readings. Kind of time management and having structure in your day, I feel like if you can implement those things, it'll make your college experience a lot easier. The last part is just your overall well-being. Honestly, like people talk about it, but I'm gonna tell you guys that when you come to college, it's easy to just let it go. It's easy to eat like crap. It's easy to stop going to the gym for some people, or not taking care of yourself mentally as well, or emotionally. So these are things that I think you should take into account when coming into college. Stay active, eat healthy. If you come to the dorms, there's gonna be the meal plans and the dining commons. Honestly, their food is great. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone trash talks their food, but honestly, I think it's the best food out there. And you'll learn to appreciate it when you need to start doing your own dishes, and you need to start cooking your own damn food. Those dining commons come in clutch. Your overall well-being, so making sure you're taking care of yourself physically. If you're going into the gym, or if you go run, make sure you're keeping yourself physically active as well. Some people bike to class. You can also do that. Skateboarding, walking. But not only that also kind of goes in with the nutrition and the diet part. Don't always eat the top ramen. So try and eat the whole foods. Don't overlook your water intake, all those things. Your sleep is honestly so important in college. In high school, you can get away with 4 hours of sleep. In college, that's impossible. Or some people can manage it, but it's not good for you in the long term. When it comes to the emotional and the mental aspects, if you're ever feeling stressed or kind of like boggled down, take a step back, relax. You know what? It's okay to put your homework aside. Saturdays are for the boys. Go out with your boys or your girls or whatever, your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Go watch a movie, kind of just de-stress, or if you're into playing games, if you're a gamer, you want to go to the beach, you go surfing, you could do all those things. Just try and keep a level head and try and stay balanced. You're going to study hard, you're going to feel overwhelmed at times and boggled down, and that's fine, that's totally normal. but how you deal with that, how you deal with those stresses, is going to be important. And now everyone's going to have a different way of dealing with it. So then that's up to you to learn it through your time in college. As far as the spiritual aspect goes, you know, if you're a spiritual person, you know, you can make time to go to church, go watch sermons, go preach or go pray, things like that. Honestly, that's kind of just like a brief rundown. It's kind of like an overgeneralization, but those are things to take into account. I think if you could take all these things into account and like appropriately manage all these things, I think you'll be healthy, you know, just overall well-rounded. Now, just to tie up real quick, yeah, so make sure you pay attention to your finances in college. Be responsible with your finances in college. Create a budget. Make sure that your expenses aren't greater than your income. Things like that. The next thing is just adapting to your new college situation, your new college life. You know, make sure you can handle these things. Don't stress over things that are out of your control. You know, so like a perfect example is with the quarantine situation. It's literally out of our control. So just, you know, focus on yourself. Find ways to keep moving forward. Find new hobbies, things to keep your mind busy. And then the last part is just your well-being. Make sure you're not ignoring that, that you're not neglecting all these little details. Take care of yourself, honestly, and you'll save yourselves halves in the long run. Yeah, if you guys have the questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box. I could either make another video or I could just respond to them in the comment box. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Again, my name is Matt. Let me know if you guys have any more questions.